Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Running a little behind tonight. I forgot I have my projects ready, and you see I forgot to take out all these little cutouts, so I just quick grabbed my tool, see if I can't get them out. So we're not wasting time poking all these little pieces. I knew I'd forget something. Hope everybody's doing good. Let's get started. I guess I'll just poke them out. So tonight we're working on the Honeybee Home stamp set. And before we get started, I just want to do a little housekeeping. For this set, the Honeybee Home, it comes with 9 dies, the flowers and the little honeybees. So there's 9 dies and the stamp set. And this stamp set is included in the bundle sale that is going on. Okay, that's really not why I chose it. I chose it because I had gone shopping and had found these cute little, can you see these cute little honeybee tissues? So that's why I picked this set to this week. Also, hi Karen. Nope, you're not late at all. Hello Kathy. Hi Margaret. How's everybody? Hi Sharon. And also on sale is the mini Stampin' Cut cut and emboss machine. It's on sale for $48, and there's no limit to how many you can purchase. So that's on sale. And also on March 30th, I will be having an event where we will be creating these stationery boxes. And included is everything you see here other than your adhesives. So you'll get everything, the notebook, and this awesome Gal Friday stamping pen. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little blurry, the light shining on it. And we'll be creating this on March 30th. The class is only going to be $20, and it includes everything, even your shipping. And you can find that, yeah, it is an awesome time to get one. Hey, do. And you'll find this, I believe it's posted at the top of the page. So it should be fun. Okay, so for tonight's project, we have just 2 cards in the box. And this one says best of luck. And I just love these little honeybees. And then it just is simple inside. And then on this card, you'll notice that the embossing is also down on the designer series paper. And then the inside again, just very simple with the stationery. Yep. The little honeybees and flowers. Thank you, Karen. And then for the gift box, the sides are stamped, and it's actually for, and this is again the reason I chose the honeybees. I found this really cute little votive candle with the honeybee on it. So that was the reason I chose this stamp set tonight. So that's a votive size. And so the box would fit a votive candle. Okay, so let's get started. We'll start with this card here. And I'm using Rich Raspberry and Blackberry Bliss, and also Very Vanilla. and I'll have a PDF in the room, probably on my blog tomorrow. So we're going to start with a piece that's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4.25. And this is the rich raspberry, or razzleberry, I should say. Whoops, I just dropped one of my pieces. And then we are going to put on a layer of the Blackberry Bliss. And this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Oh, nice. Hi, Casey. Thanks for helping your mom. And I'm just going to glue this on. And it's just 1/8 of an inch difference. So we're just going to make sure we have it straight here. And then we have our Very Vanilla. Now this piece, let me just make sure I have the right one. Yep. This piece is 5 1/4 by 4. Now what we're going to do is I am going to pull in my Stamparatus. And I'm going to turn it this way. Whoops. Pulled my plate out here. Let me get rid of this. And I'm just going to pull off my magnets for a second. And you can see that I have stamped on it. And I've already marked where I want this to be. And I'm just going to lay this down. Now, as you can see, I already pulled my stamps off because I needed them for something else. So I just want to carefully, I'm going to put this here now so I don't mess up the sheet. But I want that about right there on the card. I can see the card, but I don't want to mess up my paper right now. And then I'm going to take the second stamp. This one I have to clean off a little bit. As you can see, I didn't prepare myself too well tonight. It's been a crazy day. Tomorrow I'm gonna go pick up some meat to fill my freezer, and that's gonna take up my day when it comes to vacuum packing everything. Okay, so you can see, whoops, is that where I want it? That's a little too far. I want this to be as close as can be. Okay, so I'm just trying to measure out, and I'll use this piece for now. And that looks like it's about good there. So I am just going to use the second piece of the Stamparatus. And I'm going to grab my Versamark. And it's right here in front of me. And what I'm going to do is I am going to ink up and stamp. Make sure it is stamped really well. And you can see where it's going to be embossed because I didn't clean this stamp off. And then I'm going to do the same to the second stamp. I'm going to ink it up with the Versamark and then stamp it. Now, hoping that I got a really good amount of Versamark on. Let me do the flowers one more time. I'm going to grab my embossing powder, and I can actually move my magnets now because I do have a I did mark that page. Now I'm going to emboss this. And this is the gold. Let me get a scrap piece of paper here. Oh, he hasn't been feeling that well today, Karen. Thank you for asking. But that is usually, that's the way it is when you, with congestive heart failure. Thankfully, he's not like he was. And unfortunately, hey Kathy, how are you? His ejection fraction has not increased that much, so we're not sure what's going on. All right, so I'm going to heat up my heat gun just for a minute, and I'm going to emboss this layer. And you want to make sure that all of the embossing is shiny. Let's clean up this embossing powder. I usually get so messy. Okay, now we're going to leave these stamps in here for now, but I am going to put this aside for a minute, and we're going to pull in our layer. Now, as a guide, I am just going to lay this down here, and I'm going to pull in my pieces. Let me just cover up the Versamark. Okay, and this is 1 by 4, and these are a 1/2 by 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my glue, and you can use tear and tape also if you wanted. But you know the glue allows you just a few extra seconds to move it around. So I am just going to add this designer series paper. I want to make sure it's on there straight and that it's even on the sides. We can always trim it. And we're going to just layer this down on the front of the card. Now this piece is directional, so I have to make sure that the flowers are in the right direction. I want to make that so it's butted right up against each other, just like that. And then one last piece, and we're going to put this right on the bottom. I did try embossing after putting and I should have saved them. I threw them away. I had tried putting the designer series paper on first and then stamping it, and it didn't match. There was too much of a gap in between the layers. So there's my designer series paper. We're going to grab the Stamparatus again, and we're going to lay the card, that's why I marked it, in the same place. Just make sure it is in the same place. Nope. Have to go over one. Want to make sure it's in the same exact place. that we started. And I just want to make sure. Yep, that looks good. And then I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper and lay it over the embossed top. Okay? Let's just lay that down, and I'm going to put this right there. Now, let's grab our Versamark, and we just need the bottom half of our stamp. So we're going to stamp that there. And the same thing with this. We just need the bottom of the stamp, and I want to make sure I get the right amount. Now we stamped the bottom part where the Designer Series paper is. Let's close that up. We'll add our embossing powder. And you really can't even tell that it's embossed unless you're really looking at it. But it's just something a little bit different. So you just want to make sure you got all the embossing powder off. And then we'll heat this up again. Yes, you will, Karen. Okay. So now you can see that it's embossed on the Designer Series paper. So let's get this embossing powder back. I don't think I use it again. Okay, now before we layer this on the front of the card, I'm going to grab some of the Blackberry Bliss striped ribbon. And if you know me, I don't like wrapping and tying my bow. So I am just going to clip my ribbon and use some glue dots. And it's funny, I kept complaining about the glue dots being on the wrong side. And I opened up a new box and they are on the correct side this time. Okay, so I'm just putting this right in the center of this cinnamon cider color. And my layer is a little bit warped from embossing. That's okay. Now we can pull in our card base. And adhere the layer. Now this one I'll probably have to hold just for a minute where it's warped. I want to make sure it adheres. I have everything straight. I'm actually going to put it on this side and hold it down for a second. I'm just looking. I don't know if I did. I was going to say I didn't pull out my little double oval punch. Thanks, Kathy. Hey, Liara. Okay, so there is that layer. Just going to grab a scrap. No, that's the wrong color. Let me just see what I have here. All right, give me 1 second. Here we go. Just wanted to grab a scrap because I want to punch the scalloped oval. then I'm going to have to get up for a second. I'm going to grab the Honeybee. I didn't even cut anything out tonight. I'm so behind with everything, but that's okay. And we've got to grab our little Honeybee. Now for the Honeybee, I am going to use some black StazOn ink. I'm going to grab a scrap of Very Vanilla. And we're just going to ink up this little bee. And that's the StazOn black. And then I'm going to grab, while I'm at it, before I go to the cut and emboss machine, I'm going to grab some Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to stamp Stay Wonderful. Now I don't have to worry about it being straight because I can do it within the punch. So we'll just grab the punch and get that in there. Let's just trim this down just a little. There we go. Get that in there. And cut that out. And before I die cut my little bee, I'm just going to grab some light mango medley and we're going to color in his little back. And then I'm going to grab some, this is the Seaside Spray. I know it's not available, but it's the lightest blue I had. And then I'm going to do the light granite gray. And I'm just going to outline his little body. Just like that. I'm going to grab my, let's see, is this it? Clear Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to put a little shine on his wings. While that's drying, let's grab the sentiment and some glue. We're going to add the sentiment to our oval punch. And let's tie a bow. And then I'll be ready to run that through the cut and emboss machine. So how's the web? I believe the double punch is still available, Karen. I'm hoping it does not retire with the catalog. There's some products you just get so used to, and that is one of my favorites, as crazy as that is. All right, let's see. I messed my bow up. Got all screwy here. All right, we're going to have to try this again. Let me grab another one. I wasn't paying attention when I swirled it around and it got all... You want to make sure that your ribbon stays nice and flat and in the right direction when you're tying your bow, so your loops stay flat. Yep, the new catalog. Almost time for a new catalog, and that means that the in colors, the 2020-2022 in colors are retiring, and that is the Just Jade, Bumblebee, Midnight Moon, Misty Moonlight. What did I say? Just Jade, Bumblebee, Misty Moonlight, Magenta Madness, and Cinnamon Cider are retiring. So if you have any of those ink pads and you don't have refills, get them now. And if you want anything in those colors, ink pads, Stampin' Blends, paper, anything that's related to those colors, get them now before they're all gone. Because once they announce that they're retiring, things disappear very quickly. I know I'm going to put an order in for refills and things like that to make sure I have it, because they disappear so quickly. Okay, so let's grab our sentiment. And where's my pokey tool? That's crazy. Pokey tool disappears on me all the time. And let's grab some dimensionals and stick them on the sentiment. And we're going to put this right here over the bow, over the ribbon. We're going to make sure that it's on there straight. Yep. And then we'll grab our little bow. And we're going to add this right here. I think I'll just like that. And then that little bee that I just cut out, we're going to stick him right here. And I'm going to grab one more dimensional, because this is rocking a little, and we're just going to put that right there. Okay, so now we're going to grab some champagne rhinestones, and we're just going to add a few to the front of the card. And we're just going to put these on here. Whoops. I had it and I dropped it. We're just going to add them on randomly. I got to find my little pokey tool. And one more. And there is the front of the card. Not so quick and easy, but it is pretty. So now let's grab the inside of the card. And we have the Rich Razzleberry, 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Very vanilla, 5 1/4 by 4. Now we're going to grab that little bit of flowers. They're all gathered together. And our Blackberry Bliss. And we're going to ink up this stamp and stamp it right in the center of the card. And then let's grab that bumblebee. And we'll grab the stays on. And we're going to put one here. And then we'll grab the little bee that is facing the other direction and put him right there. The flowers will leave. The little bumblebees, I'm just going to add a little bit of color to his body. Just to give him a little bit of color. And then we can layer this together. Yeah, the cinnamon, that's what happens. That's why tomorrow I am going to put in my order for my refills. And I'm not going to buy paper, but I'll buy the refills. So, because I don't want to get rid of my stamp pads. And I know the refill will last a long time, so. And I already have my blends, and if they go, that's okay. I'm hoping that we get some really awesome colors. All right, so then we're just going to layer this into the center of the card. And there we go, card number 1. Just cute and different, right? Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Margaret. Okay, so card number 2. The same card base. 8.5 by 5.5. 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4.25. And this is the rich raspberry. Then I have Blackberry Bliss, 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then the Designer Series paper, 5 1/4 by 4. And that's a lie. This is 5 1/4 by 4. The Designer Series paper is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Okay. And I think this is the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. And all we're going to do is, again, I love my glue during videos. We're just going to layer this together. Make sure it's on there even. And then we're going to layer this on the front of the card. So I saw you mention, Karen, that you had 60-degree weather. And it was 31 today with flurries. How crazy is that? It was pretty warm here today, a little breezy out today, but it was pretty nice. And the weather has been so stinking crazy. Just don't know what to make of it for sure. Okay, then I have the Stitch So Sweetly rectangle with a piece of Very Vanilla to fit inside the stitching. And this is 2 1/8 by 3 1/4. I do need the embossing powder because I forgot we're doing the Best of Luck. We're embossing that. Okay, so before we do that, let me grab that stamp. This is why it was so messy. We're going to grab this stamp. And we're going to grab our Blackberry Bliss. And we're going to stamp this. Let me just get a scrap piece of paper. Try to keep the desktop as clean as possible. Ha ha ha. All right, so we're going to ink this up. And we'll just stamp one flower there. And then we're going to do this one a little off to the side. Just like that. And I hear my phone. "68 on Saturday and Sunday and snow on Monday. Oh my gosh." Thanks, Dawn. How are you, honey? Hi, Margaret. Hey, Sherry. Yes, I will show you how to make the bow. I have a bow on this card. I will definitely show you. Okay, so now that we have the little flowers here, we're going to pull out our embossing powder. Now I'm just going to flip this over and grab my first mark and our sentiment. And then where is it? Here it is. I'm using Best of Luck. And again, I did, oh, look how filthy. I did add the sticker. Now remember, don't leave your stamp on your block if you're using the stickers, because they do seem to really adhere and they're hard to get off. So let's make sure this is on here and just about in the center. And it's going to cover up that flower a little bit, but that's okay. And we're just going to emboss this. And let me just, now you'll notice when you're embossing, if your ink isn't dry, it is going to lay on your ink. So make sure you clear that off. Okay, so there we go. Best of luck. Let's just put that aside. Clean that off. We'll get our bow together, and then I'm going to do my, I have to stamp and die cut 2 more little bees. Let's grab the dies. And let's grab our ribbon. Okay, so I usually grab, and most of the time I don't grab enough, but a good 10 to 12 inches. Okay, now you're gonna, here's one of your tails. Hold it between your pointer and your thumb. Grab the other tail, and you want to wrap it around your middle finger and your pointer and bring it around, lift your thumb, and then hold both of those layers together. Now you want to hold that now through the entire way. Grab your tail. You're going to go through your fingers, and you see where the ribbon is running across. You're going to grab that tail and put it down below that piece and back through your fingers. So now your tail is back in the front and you have a loop. You're going to take this tail and go in through the left and out through the right. So you're going to take this piece and go in through the left and out through the right. And then you're going to pull it. And you want to make that knot nice and tight as you can get it without ripping your ribbon, because it'll give you, sometimes you can't get it off your finger, so it takes a lot, you have to do them over and over. I still have trouble, but it'll give you a nice fluffy and full loops that you can just maneuver and work so they're puffy. And then just take your tails and make sure when you cut them pretty even. And you can just play with it until it looks exactly like you want it to look like. Let's grab that glue dot. And we're just going to stick this right here under Best of Luck. Okay. Now we're going to let's grab that. We'll grab this circle left over from another class I did. Let's grab that StazOn. And we're going to ink up one. Oops. Let's grab the other B. Get him stamped. Now these little images are perfect for the mini cut and emboss machine. So we're just going to, again, color up his body. Opened up the wrong side. You know I don't like that brush. And then we're going to do his wings in, what did I say it was? Seaside Spray. Just giving him a quick little color. I'm just going to go over this dark and outline his body. Same for him. And around his little tail. All right. I'm going to grab that Wing Castella. Add some sparkle to those wings. Let's let that dry for a second or a few minutes. And we'll pull this in. Now this layer goes, oops, right in between the stitching. Hey, Kathy, that's okay. I'm glad you're here. The background paper. This, I believe, is the Harvest Meadow. Let me see if I have. I'm almost positive that's what it's called. Nope, Blackberry Beauty, it's called. And I'm not sure if it's even available. Let me know, Karen, and if it isn't available or in the catalog, I have some I can send to you. I'd love to send some to you. My catalog is not in here with me. It's in the living room. So, all right. So we're going to take this piece and we're going to pop it up onto the front of the card. This is what I want them to come back with. I love this tool. And I only have the one. And boy, if I ever lose it, I think I'll panic. I can't get used to using the tool pick, you know, the bigger one. I just can't get used to it. Okay, this is the piece before I put that on. This one is, what did I do with this? This is from the Artistic Dies, the leaves. And this is what I was doing when I came, when the video started. I didn't realize that I had gone live already. I was trying to pick out all these little pieces. I forgot all about it. But we're going to take this and we're going to cut it up. Let me see if I can get most of these out. Some of them we won't even see. Okay. So what I did was grab my scissors. I cut off those two and these two. I'm just going to trim this. I'm going to just add some glue to the bottom there and fit these leaves together. This is why I forgot. Let me just pull off that dimensional. And then I'm going to add some glue, because I want this to be on the back of here. Okay. I see one little piece that I forgot right there. There we go. Okay, so I want that to be right there on the back. So let's grab another dimensional and we'll just add it right there. Now for the bottom piece, I again cut these, and I just have 2 leaves. I need to cut this centerpiece off. Let's get the rest of these out. How annoying that I didn't finish this up. I forgot all about them. Okay. And I am just going to add some glue. An eyeball. I want it to be about right here. And then we'll just grab this layer and lay it on the front of the card. Now, if you give me 2 seconds, I will cut out the 2 little bumblebees. So we can get this card finished. So I think the Winkostella is dry. Hopefully I'll get these little bees cut out right. I try not to color anything before cutting. Because sometimes you go to all that work, go through all that work, and then you mess up the die cutting, right? All right, so now we have our little bees, and these little guys we're going to pop up with our mini dimensionals. And we'll stick one here, and we'll grab the other little guy. Right here. And let's grab our champagne rhinestones. Add them to the front of the card. And there's the front of our card. So see, you can puff up your little ribbon. Let's go to the inside. We have our rich raspberry, 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, I think. Yep. And then we have our very vanilla, 5 1/4 by 4. Now we're going to grab this same stamp that we used on the front of the card, and we're just going to stamp the inside of the card. One there. One there. And what I would do, let me see if I have one handy. Yep. I did notice, I'm not sure if it was in the States or not, somebody mentioning, thank you, Dawn. Ah, fussy baby. Thanks, Karen. I'm not sure if it's in the United States or not, but someone talking about decorating their envelopes, and the post office is going to refuse them. I'm going to have to ask, because I've been decorating my envelopes. But I would just put a little flower just like that on the front of the envelope. I don't think that's too much. Okay, so now let's layer this together. I'm going to try very carefully not to get ink anywhere, because I have ink on my fingers. And do you see I just did that? Okay. Lay this on the inside of the card. And then there is card number 2. Let me wipe off my fingers before we work with all that berry vanilla for the next one. Okay. Let's put this aside. Thanks, Kathy. Okay, so now we're going to start with, and this box I did simple as can be. And if you weren't here at the beginning, this is really the reason, one of the reasons I chose the bumblebees tonight, because I found this really awesome little votive candle with the little bumblebee on the top. So I wanted to make a little box, and I wanted to do it as simple as possible. So I have a very vanilla that is 7 7/8 by 7 7/8. It is scored on each side, excuse me, at 2 3/4. Just like that. Now, let me grab that piece. What I decided to do was stamp the sides. So we're just going to put my scrap paper right at the score line. Let's move some of these things over. Let me get this open. Make sure it's on the score line. And ink up. Now my lid is about a 1/2 inch, so I know I can go right up to a 1/2 inch. And we're just going to stamp this right in the center. And then we're going to do it on the opposite side also. Just like that. Next, I am going to grab the other stamp that I did not take off the stamparatus. Let's get rid of this stamp. And we're going to do the same thing on the other 2 sides, but with the other stamp. So now the box will match both cards. Right there. And then turn it. Okay. Now to create the bottom of the box, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start on one side, and I want to make sure that I'm cutting out that score line or that bump. And then I'm going to cut from the corner to the corner and then trim this about in half. And while I'm on this side, we're going to do this corner. Cut down the bump, corner to corner, and then in half. Same thing on this side. So you're going to do all 4 corners. Oops. And then one last one. All right. Quick and easy. Now you can turn it over and you can see if you didn't get all of that little bump out, you can just trim it right on the back side, because you'll see that little score bump. Much easier on this side. Okay, you can use tear and tape. I'll use glue. And we're going to glue these. I'm going to add them. And we're just going to glue this together, making sure that you're right at the corner there. The glue dries pretty quick. And then we can get this one. So it's a nice, hold on one second, guys. Let me just grab my cord. My computer is just about dead. What? My computer doesn't die. I have to plug it in. Sorry about that. Let me just... I forgot to plug my computer in. Or my laptop, I should say. All right, let me just get... There we go. Don't want it to die in the middle. Okay, so here's the next one. So it's just a nice, quick, and easy way to make a box. No fuss, no muss. Now you're probably saying, well, it's a little bit flimsy along the top. Well, what I did was the top of the box, I meant. For the lid, I made it so it's a little bit more secure. And this is 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. And then each side is scored at 1/2 of an inch and 1 inch. So we're going to fold and burnish each side. Just like this. And then grab our scissors, and you want to take out or cut out the 3 outside corners. And then you want to create a tab on that 4th square. Miter the sides, just like that. And then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do the same thing on each of the corners. Cut out the 3 squares. Cut up to the tab. Miter the sides. And turn. So you're going to do the same thing to every corner. Oops. Cut out the square. You want to make your tab miter. And then we have one more. So this will be double-sided, and it'll be nice and secure to hold that box. Okay, let's get rid of our garbage, and we'll grab some tearing tape. Grab my lid, and we're going to put, this is the, you see how it is? This is the inside of the box. We're going to add tearing tape to these pieces here. These are the outside pieces. I'm going to go all the way around. And then before we get to do anything, we want to miter these ends also, because we want these to really fit nicely. Okay, let's grab our glue, and we can add glue to our tabs. I'm going to go around and add them so it has a time to get sticky. And we're just going to create our lid. So has anybody seen a price jump in your gasoline? Oh, okay. Okay. No mention about images. Oh, good. Maybe it might have been for Australia. I have a lot of friends in Australia that are card makers, so that could have been, because I know when I brought my envelope in the last time, the post lady actually commented on it, so she would have definitely told me if I wasn't allowed to do it. Okay, so now that we have these all glued, now we can remove the paper and tuck these in. So they'll be really nice and sturdy sides to the lid. There we go. I'm just going to stick all these down. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm just going to make sure that it's down on each of the sides. And there's our lid. Let's get it on top of our box, and it'll hold our box together really nicely. And then we have the Rich Raspberry, the Designer Series paper, and I believe, let me grab my ruler so I can let you know the size. Okay, the Rich Raspberry is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. The Designer Series paper is 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. And then we're gonna adhere this to the top of the box. And then one of the dies in this die set is this cute little piece here. And what I'm going to do is grab one of these champagne rhinestones and stick it on that one flower. And then I'm going to pull in the leaves that I had left over after cutting them apart. And we're going to just pull these die pieces out. I'll remember next time to make sure I take all these out, ladies. Okay. And we're actually going to grab a dimensional and we're going to stick it right there at the bottom of these leaves. And put it right in the middle. And then we're going to grab our flowers. And I am going to put some glue there. And I'm just going to stick it on. There is some piece of the dimensional sitting there too. We're going to grab a bit of ribbon and tie our bow. $4.19 for diesel, $3.34 a gallon, and $3.49 where you are. Well, I went and saw my neighbor today. She's so funny. She's like 92, Verna. And she goes to Costco, and she is only one person, and she buys all this stuff. And then when she's putting it away, she decides, well, she can't eat it all. She calls me. And she had pizza for us, so I could put pizza in the freezer. And when I went out on Tuesday, gas was $3.74 here in Pennsylvania. She said today when she went out, it was $4.09. Washington State is $4.25. Wow. $4.19 for diesel. Well, $4.09 is for regular. That's not even a good grade. It's the lowest grade, $4.09. That is crazy. Crazy, crazy. All right, now let me see. Here we go. I have just a scrap piece. Let me see if I have another one. Okay, we'll just use this. All right, so I have a scrap piece that was right next to my cutter. So we're just going to stamp this sentiment. It's probably going to be upside down, but that's okay. And we're just going to see if it'll fit on here. Yep. And I'm just going to trim this down. Whoops. Trim this down a little here. And we're going to just cut this. Let's cut it this way. So there is our sentiment. Then what I like to do, put a backing on it so it doesn't really get lost. So I'm just going to lay this down. Just like that. Let that dry for a second. This is what I wish they would come back with. I love this little thing. And I'm just gonna make sure That looks pretty good. Give it a cut. Give it a trim. And then we're going to grab some glue and add this right under that bow. And there we have our quick and easy box. Our little bumblebees. And then our embossing on the designer series paper. Oh, that's true. Your car is plugged in. Good for you, because gas is crazy. So I hope you like tonight's projects. Again, if you order $35 before Monday or Sunday evening, you'll receive a swag bag and 5 handmade cards with envelopes. Thank you, thank you. So have a great night, ladies. And I'll be back on Saturday. Not sure what we're going to make, but we'll figure something out. And don't forget, if you're interested in signing up for this little stationery box, you'll get the Gal Friday stamping stylus. It has the stylus on one end and a pen. The notepad comes, all the paper for creating everything, and the postage for $20. I'll get that in the mail. Registration will close probably the 10th. And the event is on the 30th. So that'll give me plenty of time to put it together and get it back to you. So have a great night. Be safe. And I'll talk to everybody soon. Hey, bye, Matt. Love you, honey. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. You're welcome, ladies.